Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FA Live. I'm so excited to be here. I hope you loved that countdown that we had. It was super cool, and I will admit it helps me and the guests get ready behind the scenes while, we're preparing to deliver you some awesome content. So again, thank you for joining us for FA Live. This is our live series that we host on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. My name is Caitlin Brower. I am the Director of Social Media, PR, and Events here at First Advantage, and I'm also your host of FA Live. We have a phenomenal episode today. I have an all-star panel. I'm going to call them the trifecta because we have First Advantage, we have Paradox, and we have Compass Group. So we've got FA, we have a partner, and we have a customer on. So I won't go any further. I'm going to introduce them. So we have Tyler Lumaco, SVP of Sales for Retail and Hospitality here at First Advantage. We have Matt Kauppi, Senior Client Success Manager at Paradox, and Singh, Senior Director, Talent Acquisition, Entry-Level Talent at Compass Group. And today, our topic is transforming high-volume hiring, Compass Group's approach with First Advantage and Paradox. So again, all-star panel, all-star topic. I'd like to give our guests a little bit of time right now to introduce themselves. So Tyler, Matt, and Jay, I'm going to give you the stage here. So Tyler, welcome to First FA Live. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, thanks, Caitlin. Hey, everybody listening and watching. As Caitlin mentioned, my name is Tyler Lumaco, Senior Vice President of Sales here at First Advantage for our retail and hospitality vertical. I've been with the organization a little over 9 years, and for that entire time, really focused on delivering processes and outcomes for our high volume hiring clients, again, in retail and hospitality. So thrilled to be here with one of our great clients and a great partner, Compass Group and Paradox. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're thrilled too. So Matt, I'll kick it over to you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Caitlin. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Kauppi. I'm a Senior Client Success Manager with Paradox. So I've been serving our clients for almost 5 years. So my role really is to help clients with training, post-go-live support, change management, optimization efforts with a lot of our enterprise-level clients, such as Compass Group.
Love it. Thank you for joining us on FA Live. And last but not least, Jay, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Jay Singh. I'm a Senior Director of Talent Acquisition for Compass Group, and my role is mainly overseeing a lot of our entry-level talent hiring, so all of our hourly and frontline associates. And I've been a part of this organization coming up on 10 years. So really, well-versed in this space and look forward to the conversation today.
I was going to say, we've got like a seasoned group with us too. We've been there for a while. We've been there, done that. We know what we're talking about. So I do want to quickly just remind our audience, if you're tuning in live today on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can ask questions to these three throughout the episode. Just go in the comment section across all three of those platforms, and I will get any type of question or commentary over to them as I see fit throughout the episode. And anything that we don't get to, we will follow up with you afterwards. Let's go ahead and get into it. So my first area that I'd like to dive into with you three is just kind of some background and context of Compass Group's hiring challenges. So Tyler, as you set the stage and talk, a little bit on the First Advantage and Paradox partnership, can you ground the audience on how we all work together?
Yeah. So like a lot of our partnerships, our partnership started with a shared client, obviously Compass Group, coming to us and asking us if we would engage with Paradox to help them optimize not just First Advantage's technology, but also the technology, the conversational recruiting technology, Olivia, through Paradox. The outcome being, right, how can we deliver a more streamlined recruiting, screening, and hiring process, as well as helping to really optimize the overall applicant experience for Compass Group through the partnership with Paradox.
Yeah, it always is great to dive into our stories with our partners, because that is usually the end goal. Someone is coming, a third party that we need to work with. So we both have to step in and make sure that the customer is getting everything that they need. So I'll shift now to the customer. Jay, I have a two-parter here. So can you talk about what your hiring needs look like so we understand that scale? And I think the scale is pretty big, so I'd love to hear about that. And then can you talk about some of the challenges Compass Group was facing, with these hiring demands?
Yeah, absolutely. So Compass Group, within all of our brands, we hire roughly 140,000 or so hourly associates on a yearly basis. And that's all done through a centralized team of only 16 or so recruiters. So as you can imagine, it requires a lot of automation and technology and partners like yourselves to really make that process smooth and efficient. So really some of the challenges we were kind of faced with were making sure from the beginning the application process is smooth and efficient and easy for our candidates, but then downstream for our hiring managers as well as our recruiters, from background check to, again, conversational AI, all of that is really efficient and smooth and automated, so that candidates are quickly hired, because speed is name of the game in the hourly business. So those were kind of some of the challenges we were facing, is how do we make that process smooth and efficient, but again, with a mixture of speed. And then we were trying to obviously make sure we still had our kind of centralized system of record, but adding more technology on top of that and not overcomplicating things. So it was just trying to strike a balance with all of those different things, and then trying to work with the partners to make sure at the core, again, we keep that process smooth for everyone involved.
It's kind of like interesting to think, how can you not overcomplicate things when your scale is that large?
Yeah.
But that's, the story that we're here to tell today. So Matt, I'll loop you in now on kind of how Paradox came into the picture here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we first began working with Compass Group in 2019, originally to solve the problem Jay alluded to, which is starting at the apply process, right? When you're talking about having 15,000, 20,000 jobs open at one time and a recruiting team of 15 to 20 recruiters, how do you make that happen? And a lot of it's through automation, through our conversational AI. So starting at the apply process, right away, we were able to make that apply process more efficient, having candidates apply via minutes through a simple conversation with Olivia. And that's kind of where our partnership began. And then additional solutions came out of that. Hey, what else can we optimize? What else can we make more efficient for the candidate, but also keep that personalized? So it's been amazing working with Compass Group and partnering with them on the solutions that we started in 2019 and continue to optimize into 2025.
So that's great. We've set the stage. We've given some background. Moving now into the implementation process and then supporting that overall hiring strategy. Jay, can you share more about the implementation process with Paradox and First Advantage?
Yeah. So as we talked about our size, right, with the 140,000 hires, there's a lot of complexity that comes with that, meaning we have various different brands all across the US. So there's a lot of different demands and needs within our business that vary. It's not a one size fits all approach. So when it comes to implementation, that was critical for us to be able to work with partners like yourself to make sure that the technology is going to fit all the different needs we have throughout our space. So throughout the process, we had various requests, unique customizations, unique things that we asked for that probably weren't things that maybe Paradox or First Advantage were used to. But of course, you guys were super accommodating in terms of understanding how that would benefit our business and making sure it fits our needs and our growth that we continue to see. So I think that was a huge piece for us, was that flexibility and making sure it's customizable and flexible for what our business needs, because we are very complex and different within our different brands. And then on top of that, we had dedicated support teams from both Paradox and First Advantage that kind of helped a lot with change management, post go live support, training. So a lot of our managers, again, and candidates and recruiters, with that scale, change management isn't easy. So we need that level of involvement and support to make sure, any changes in technology implementations that we have are smooth throughout the business. And then on top of that, post go live, we wanted to make sure we continue to optimize and develop the technology. So to Matt's point, starting in 2019, but even to this day, we still have quote unquote small implementations of different things happening because we continue to evolve, and First Advantage and Paradox have continued to evolve with us.
Yeah. And I think it's, we have to understand that evolution is going to keep happening. I think, though, advice I have, for organizations that may look like yours, Jay's, is to start the conversation, because you thought maybe that wasn't doable. Maybe it was too much. It was too complicated. The customizations might not be there. But when you have experts like Matt, Tyler from both organizations, just start the conversation and kind of see where these programs can go. And like you had just said, it's going to keep evolving. So kind of what is that next step once we have that initial conversation? Yeah. But to follow up on that first question I had for you, Jay, in regards to implementation and the hiring process, Tyler, what does our support structure currently look like for the Compass Group?
Yeah, so from sort of a boots on the ground perspective, it's a multi-layered approach where there's an executive sponsor within our C-suite, who's sort of the ultimate layer of support for our client. And then sort of below that level, we have a client success director who's focused on really the overall health of our partnership and the success of the program. There's also a dedicated client success analyst who's more day-to-day, tactical, but no less strategic. And I think really, like, on a broader perspective, they, as Jay mentioned, they're very unique, right? There's elements of hospitality, food service, staffing. So for us, it's really about, how can we meet Jay and his team kind of where they are at any given time, and really, again, provide solutions and outcomes for high volume hiring across a number of different industries that Compass Group really sort of plays in a number of different high volume hiring scenarios that are important to Jay and his team.
Yeah, having a whole team there structured to, again, the uniqueness of the organization is critical. And we clearly have seen the importance of that during this partnership.
Yeah, and I think what's key, sorry, Caitlin, I think what's key too is, so as Jay and his team, as they bring on clients, right, it's sort of ever shifting. So our team has to be ready to really react quickly. Yeah. Whether it's build new packages, or maybe it's talking about a completely new service like I-9 or WATZ or post-accident drug screening, right? So we have to be able, again, to meet them and their clients where they are with sort of what's top of mind for them, and be able to react quickly for them.
Yeah, I think that's great. Matt, my same question is for you. It's really around the support structure with both Paradox and Compass.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a dedicated client success team supporting Compass. So I work very closely with Jay in team on anything ongoing as far as post go live support, but really at any given moment, depending on where we're at, right? If we're looking to solve a problem, we can easily pull in our solutions team. If we're looking to implement a new product, we can pull in some of our implementation folks. So really, it just kind of depends on where we're at. Yes, the client success team is dedicated to helping out Compass Group day to day, meet on a weekly basis, not only just for support items, but what can we optimize? And then based on where we're at, what problems we're trying to solve, we can pull in additional resources to make sure we're achieving our goals.
So I want to move now and shift focus to impact and results, which I think this is probably going to be my favorite part of the episode. No bias, but we're talking about what's working and what we're seeing. So Jay, this question, it's two questions actually, are pointed at you and your team. So since implementing First Advantage and Paradox, what improvements has your team seen? And then can you talk about the talent acquisition outcomes and the elevated candidate experiences that you're seeing as well?
Yeah. So as we talked about earlier, a big focus for us with any vendor, but really especially Paradox and First Advantage, was continuing to make sure that our process and experience was smooth and easy for everyone involved, right? Especially our candidates. And I think that's where we saw probably the biggest impact. So we were able to really, as Matt alluded to earlier, first of all, streamline the application process. The time to complete that got greatly reduced from where we were prior. And so, of course, top of funnel, that's a big, big win for us, is just getting candidates in the door quickly and smoothly and efficiently. And then as we progressed through the process, then it was making sure, how do we continue to keep the candidates engaged? So, of course, working with First Advantage on various, how we're sending the invites, texting capabilities, even sending them in different languages, Spanish, for example. So those kinds of capabilities really help prevent a lot of the drop-off that we would see then during that offer stage or background invite stage. And I think that kind of flexibility and technology optimization had huge impact for us from when candidates engaged the application, but then throughout the process, how we kept them engaged and made sure we didn't lose them. So I think ultimately all of that kind of led to a better candidate experience, because we were kind of meeting the candidates where they are. Because again, today's day and age, right? People are texting more, not checking email, so on and so forth. So we kind of had to make sure we evolved and met the candidates in terms of how they wanted to be communicated to. And ultimately, I think that led to speeding up the whole hiring process.
Yeah. And we also just live in a time where everything is so fast. So you're trying to improve that drop off rate. But then I love your point too of meeting where the candidates are. So you're trying to retain them and keep them throughout the entire process. But you're also using modern things like texting over email, things like that. Like there might be some people out there without an email address. It might just need to be text. So I think that is a great point. And I love seeing the impact and the results thus far that you've seen with both Paradox and First Advantage. To wrap things up, I do have just like some final areas to dive in, Jay, with you, and then Tyler and Matt. I'm going to come and grab your thoughts here. So, Jay, what advice do you, I already provided my advice to other companies, but no one wants to listen to me. So what advice do you have to an organization that might be in the similar situation that your team was in? And then diving into kind of the most important things that TA and HR leaders should be considering when they are evaluating new background check and TA solutions. So I guess it's for you, it's like any deal breakers, features, things like that.
Yeah. And I think I'm probably going to repeat myself a little bit here, but I think it's important, that theme of candidate experience. I think as TA leaders, I think that's a big one that I know, everyone's thinking about. So I think for us, that was probably the most kind of consideration, is how do we make that candidate experience quick, easy, smooth, all of that good stuff, and really making it optimized and easy for them so that we minimize that drop off, as we talked about. And obviously, as we've seen, hiring technologies are growing at a rapid pace, because it's so hard to keep up with the market in terms of how the candidate market's evolving, AI, so on and so forth. So I think it's important to work with partners like First Advantage and Paradox that will continue to evolve with you and the market, because it's not just implement and then we'll check back in a few years, right? Markets are moving so fast and we have to continue to evolve with those trends. So I think it's important when you think about vendors and partners that you kind of think that long-term goal of, is this a vendor that's going to continue to grow and evolve their offerings to meet my business needs as well? So I would just caution and kind of, encourage organizations to kind of think through that. And then also, I think for us, it was important when we look at kind of our systems and ATS, if you will. We wanted everything to be set up smoothly and kind of have one system of record, make it easier for our hiring managers and recruiters. So I think those are also important considerations when we talk about working with technology and some of the partners. And then secondly, I would say the customization and flexibility. That was very key and important. And I think I would encourage organizations to kind of think about that. You don't have to do a one-size-fits-all approach. You want to think about, what does my organization need, and how do I get that from working with Paradox or First Advantage? So I think, as an organization, if you're prioritizing candidate experience, making sure you have kind of your important key factors when you're looking at, vendors that are important to you, and you stick with those, that I think ultimately is gonna lead to some successful stories. Yep.
Continuing to evolve with you is such a stunning statement. And it really, I think, gets to the point of what we're trying to share today. This story, this partnerships amongst the three organizations here. So Tyler and Matt, I did say that I wanted to come to you to follow up on that question, your opinions, and I still do, but feel free to think about it in a lens of other industries as well, as I know both of you work with others. So Tyler, I'll punt it to you first.
No, so Jay, it's like Jay teed me up, and if there's anyone from my team listening to this or watching this, they're going to be rolling their eyes, because I say this all the time. But I think, if you're looking at our industry, right, First Advantage, I think it's paramount that you sort of gravitate towards partners and vendors that are going to challenge you to think differently about what your program could look like. And again, I'm smiling because anyone on my team has heard me say this over and over again, but I think that's really the crux of all of this. Like just like Jay was saying, I mean, what's the outcome? And again, just speaking to our industry, we know that turnaround time is super important. We get that, but ultimately what you're trying to achieve is a better applicant experience and hiring the best people and onboarding them as quickly and efficiently as you can. So it's not just about the point solution of a background check, but it's how can First Advantage partner with a Paradox or anyone else to really help your overall hiring process, and then challenge you again to think differently about what that program could look like, so that it becomes a more strategic part of your overall hiring process, right? Yes, turnaround time for background checks is important, but again, what about other things like I-9 or WOTC or ongoing monitoring, right? There's a number of things that we can integrate into a solution, not just background checks, again, to really help optimize a client's or partner's program and achieve the ultimate outcome, which is, again, hiring the best people as quickly and as safely as possible. So that would be my advice to anyone.
Mm-hmm. And Tyler, I think your team is smiling because you're 100% accurate. They're not.
or they're rolling their eyes. They're like, here he goes again with the whole challenging thing.
But he's correct. So no rolling eyes, team. So no rolling eyes here. Matt, what is your follow-up to this question?
Yeah, so I agree with Tyler and Jay. I think one of the points both of you guys made was customization, right? Every client is going to be different in the way candidates want to interact with technology is changing. So taking an approach and working with partners like First Advantage and Paradox and having a tailored solution to meet candidates where they're at is so important, right? When we think about not just engaging on the web, but meeting them from a mobile experience and providing an SMS experience to where they can apply simply by texting a short code and have an application in minutes. So it's ever changing, but we work with our clients through those trends. And I think really the most important part in what we strive to do is create the best candidate experience possible, automate and create efficiencies, as Tyler alluded to, but also freeing up recruiters and hiring managers to deal less with software and more with people. That's really our goal, is getting rid or automating a lot of those administrative tasks, so recruiters and hiring managers can do their job and work with people.
I think at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do our job. So I think that's a great way to wrap that up. We're trying to do it effectively, fast, and just the best way possible. So honestly, great conversation so far. I've loved the answers to every question that I have asked you three. So I do just want to pause and again, give our last chance to those watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. If you have any final questions, please send them in right now. Now's your final chance. Get them in. But I do, as we wait for any final questions, just want to gather some final thoughts from the three of you on today's topic, the episode, maybe how people can get in contact with you. So Jay, I'll start with you on just some quick final thoughts.
Yeah, I think today we obviously kind of focus on a number of different things, but I think for us as Compass Group, we always are looking for the greatest and what's next in terms of technology, and how can we continue to improve ourselves. And I think as organizations, especially in talent acquisition, that's critical nowadays. Markets move so fast, and hiring is continuing to be a challenge. So I think working with partners like Paradox and First Advantage is critical to make sure you have kind of their help basically to get where you need to go, because we got to continue to evolve to meet what the candidates are doing, to help our recruiters, to help our hiring managers, and we're seeing that from our competitors. So it's really something that I think is paramount to make sure that you have that smooth, easy, efficient hiring process for everyone involved, in order to make it a success for your organization.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Matt, final thoughts for today?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so great being on with everyone. Compass Group and First Advantage are such great partners. And I think this call really kind of shows you that when partnering, we're really able to provide the best solutions for our clients. So grateful to you, Jay, jumping on. Grateful to you, Tyler, Caitlin, for having me on today.
Of course. And like I said, trifecta, great crew here. And you really did tell that story and what was heightened, like you had just said, Matt. So Tyler, final thoughts from you for today.
Yeah, I mean, nothing earth-shattering or different. Thanks for having us again. Two great partners. Great. We love Compass Group. I think Compass Group has been a partner of a client of First Advantage for going on 15 years now, and it's. I think we've learned a lot, Jay, from you and your team. Right, again, just as your program has grown, you've again challenged us to be better, and I think a big part of that is going out and really forging these partnerships with great partners like Paradox. So it's been great. I would just say to anyone out there listening, think about what can be different about your overall program. It's about the applicant experience, it's about your employment brand, and how can you partner with vendors and partners who can really help elevate your entire program. So.
That's great. And to end on the highest note of all, someone just commented on LinkedIn that we absolutely crushed it. So I love it. We did crush it today. You guys are killing it. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone that tuned in live today, or if you're watching on demand right now. And of course, I'd love to thank my amazing panel of Matt, Jay, and Tyler. Thank you three for joining me on FA Live today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Yes, and I will see everyone on the next episode. So thank you again.